Hi, I'm Brittany McIver, and this is ActivePal. Share your outdoor passion. Have you ever wanted to go hiking, skiing, mountain biking, but had no one to go with? I have, and it sucks, especially when you go to a local mountain equipment co-op, go to the sign-up sheet, expect to meet somebody, and then they in no way meet your expectations. Allow ActivePal to help you. This is how we work. Brad wants to go mountain biking on Mount Seymour on Thursday. He posts this event. Courtney signs on, goes hiking on Thursday, sees Brad, sees his user rating. She's interested, she clicks yes. Brad says she seems cool, he accepts. Hopefully they're doing some sweet mountain biking moves on Thursday. We're unique. There are products like this in the market, but we're local. We're the only Canadian-based product. We are the only ones with a search-based algorithm that has activity, who you want to go hiking with, and when they're available. We're also a peer-reviewed site. Was Brad cool to hike with? Yeah, he was sweet. Courtney liked him. Was Courtney nice to hike with? Yeah, she gets a yes too. We've had an amazingly positive response over the last 2 days. We've had over 140 Facebook likes, and we went out onto the street and surveyed 43 people. 36 people were not only willing to sign up for ActivePal, but were willing to pay for ActivePal. We've not only had huge interest, but we've had local companies interested. They have offered numerous incentives that are exclusive to ActivePal for our members, like 20% off nutritional consulting from House Sound Nutrition. We expect more partners because of our advertising, our social media presence, our activity within events and outdoor expos. We also want to do crazy team stunts where we all get together in onesies and run down the street yelling ActivePal's name, or down a mountain, that's cool too. Right now we expect growth in year 3. We are offering free membership to our users at this moment, and advertising to our, we expect advertising in year 2 to come in based on that revenue, in year 2, we expect our advertising revenue to increase because of our membership base, and we also want to incorporate a $30 membership fee for premium usage. Please check out our site at activepal.ca and sign up, register, everybody, we want everyone to register. Okay. Seriously, teamwork has made this dream work. We've been such a collaborative group. We have probably over 100 years of work experience between us. I'm not even kidding. And probably 50 years of post-secondary and tech school too. And we're actually all outdoor enthusiasts. Honestly, teamwork makes the outdoor dream work. Thank you. I'm Courtney McIver, and this is ActivePal. Please, I'm willing to answer any questions. Let me know.
All right, thanks, Courtney. So I'm going to open up to the judges.
Should I come closer to you?
So just a quick question. You said like one of your advantages being local. So you're only planning to be in Vancouver or in Canada, or?
At this moment, we're local, based in Vancouver, to get our usage up, and then once we want to expand to Canada and then globally. But at this moment, I think the advantage in Vancouver is we have such an outdoor market that we can get a huge customer base in a small time, and then with proven usage and proven advertising, we can expand to Toronto. We want to go to Victoria, and then Toronto, and then Montreal, and then into the States.
Awesome. So you say it's $30. What's your business model? $30 a year? Is it SaaS based? Is it monthly?
It's $30 a year.
$30. So they're paying $30 up front.
Up front, yes. So then we don't have to worry about subscription-based systems and not be able to project our annual income. And on year 2, it can, depending on how well we're doing, that's completely could be $30 to $60, and we can look into monthly membership fees if that model does work better.
Okay.
Yeah, just $30. Why am I paying premium? What do I get?
You're paying the premium because we do have the secure. You'll have a messaging app included, so you can talk to the person for a little while. That's here too, so we don't want to include that at this point because we're not at the development stage. The trusted user site will increase. Right now, it's just yes or no, Courtney's cool, Brad's cool, but we want to, at a certain point, incorporate their skill level and how good they are. You want to make sure that the person you're going to go meet has the skill level that you're at, and that could be a premium advantage.
Yeah, I'm not sold. Sorry.
Cool.
That's fair, that's fair.
What all did you build this weekend?
We built a minimum viable product from scratch. Our development team worked nonstop, and I don't understand how they can see anymore. But we have the minimum viable product. Our sign up is ready. And
All right, let's give her a hand. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Shikhar and Blue Circle is here to defeat food waste. So food waste is a problem, right? We identified that food waste is causing fresh food suppliers up to $2,000 a month. And currently, there is no efficient system to track this. Okay, so we went out and we spoke to the people who need food banks and food charities. So Salvation Army, Covenant House. General consensus, they need food. They will not turn away food. They're open to getting food, receiving food. We also went out and spoke to the different players in the food industry, food suppliers, okay? So we spoke to Cactus Club, Urban Fare, bakeries, caterers. And generally, there is food waste that is being generated in various degrees, various levels between all these players. What we identified is that the immediate need for a food waste management system is with the caterers. Now, you'll ask, why caterers, right? Now, caterers account for the second biggest food waste that is being generated in Canada after consumers, individual consumers, to the tune of 20%. So we spoke to En Route. These guys are amazing. They are the caterers for this beautiful event. And they said they cannot track the food waste because of time issues. And they'll be willing to pay up to half the amount of the food that we can save them. And they invited us for a beta test.
Okay, so in terms of current solutions, there are solutions out there today which will pick up any unused food and deliver that to charitable organizations, and that happens at varying levels locally and regionally. But these solutions do not help the businesses drive real business value from reducing the waste that they produce. So what we want to do is help fresh food eateries more effectively manage their food inventory whilst at the same time feeding those in need. So how we do that is we will take the whole collection of food and delivery to those in need off their hands, but we'll also provide them actionable business insights about what their food they're wasting, what types, so that they can better manage their inventory controls and future procurement cycles. How does it work? So those organizations in need of food will order from ourselves, and we will then drive to those participating businesses. We will load, scan, and deliver the food to those organizations in need. So for those partners that we bring on board, the food suppliers, this is a screenshot of the actual insights that they get. So they will get these data insights around the volume of food that they're giving up, so they can better benchmark forecasts for the future and how they can more efficiently optimize their supply purchasing. How do we make money? We are a subscription-based model for the food supply partners that we bring on board. It's a 3-tiered system based on the volume of weight of food waste that we are managing for them. We'll drive those food supply relationships by an outbound sales model, bringing on new food suppliers on board. We'll forge relationships with local government, local regional government partnerships, as well as food networks as well. In terms of our KPIs, as we're essentially a SaaS model, we have ARR as a primary metric. The average recurring revenue per customer, so per food supply we bring on board, is $2,400, with a customer lifetime value of just over $6,000. Our customer acquisition cost is pretty low at $300, and the annual fee to us to actually service those clients is just over $1,100. So we have a margin of about 50% for every customer that we bring on board. We hope by year 3 we can bring on about 1,000 clients, and we actually get some good economies of scale. The more clients we bring on board, the cost per trip goes down because of the localization effect of having more customers in one region.
The future is Q1.
Thanks, guys. Time goes quick. So I'm going to open up the judges based on this side. Ryan, if you want to start, or
Sure, just a quick point of clarification. You said that the cost of food waste to various restaurants, et cetera, is about $2,000 a month on average. Is that just disposal cost, or what is that cost?
That is the dollar amount of food that they are giving away in compost.
The cost of the food?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you look into the legalities of
Yes.
people accepting this food, and what are
Absolutely.
the ramifications there?
So what we don't want to deal with cooked food, so we want to deal with unused food. So like catering businesses, they have unused food that we can deliver. We have to deliver within a 2-hour time frame. So, and we have to deliver in the 2-hour time frame, and that's what the Food Earners Program in Vancouver does. So that's what we want to follow.
And just a quick follow-up to that, all of our kind of cost of service are based on that 2-hour cycle that we will return to like a truck, so that we can service each customer following the correct food quality procedures.
I just felt a bit raw. Apart from the catering company here, who else did you talk to?
We talked to Cactus Club out there, we talked to Urban Fair, we talked to small businesses like Chopped Leaf.
Have you looked at the competition? I've seen something that's done better. It just seems to be very, very raw.
In competition, right?
So yeah, with the competition, there's a lot out there from a pickup and delivery standpoint, but there's not really many people doing solving the business value to them. So what we want to do is focus on the business value of reducing their food waste, saving their money. That's our value is in saving that business money and giving them better insights about how to purchase in the future. I absolutely understand there's competition otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, that was good. That was gonna be my question, like what is the value prop? They're paying $129 a month, like what's the value prop? So the value prop to them is giving them data back to them so they can maybe better establish their inventory?
Yeah, exactly. So if someone is losing $2,000 per month, even if we can save them, say, 25% in efficiencies, it's a value prop to spend, $125 or even $200, saving $500 per month, right?
So, but if you focus on catering businesses, this is all being paid for by the customer. There's no waste per se for the business. So I don't really get it what you say. I mean, this is not waste. This is not ingredients. This is ready-made food that somebody has paid for.
So the food waste comes from, so the catering comes out today, they have that a cost to them, right? In terms of the food waste. In terms of other
Well, the customer is paid for the catering, right? The waste, it's unfortunate it's being thrown away, but it has been paid for by the customer. There's no food waste. There's no ingredients that kind of suddenly you can't reuse anymore.
all right, thank you, guys.
There are 100 things that people have to do when they lose a loved one. The process is tedious, the process is long, the process is painful. They just want closure. And this is what our friends and family had to say when we asked them about their aftercare experiences. Funerals will take care of the burial process. Lawyers will take care of the wills and estates. Everything else is manual. Contacting friends and family, contacting people that are associated with your loved one, as well as closing accounts, closing subscriptions, closing memberships. And this process can take up to 3 years, maybe more, depending on the complexity of your loved one. People solve this today by either hiring lawyers or financial advisors to help them close these accounts for thousands of dollars, or they'll do it themselves manually and burden the emotional cost of doing it, closing each and every single account. Closure helps you move on by providing a platform to help manage and close the accounts of your loved ones. automatically.
So we just get started here on the website. And of course we need some of your personal information, including things like your executorship thing, power of attorney, and your driver's license. And then you input the beloved one's information, including the death certificate. You then click finish, and we scan our system looking for what accounts is under that beloved one's name. Looks like we have 28 accounts. Well, let's see. Credit card, utility, cell phone. I just lost my loved one. I don't want to take care of any of this. I'm just going to do select all. And it only cost me $280 for those 28 accounts. I'm going to go ahead and say close all accounts. We check back in 2 weeks later, and here looking in, and look, there's 14 accounts requiring our attention in the red. There's a few in the yellow here, waiting, accounts in waiting. And there are some in the green here that have already been closed. The accounts in waiting, we are just waiting to hear back from the companies to confirm they don't need more paperwork or that it's already closed. And the ones in red here, let's take care of these. Bank of Nova Scotia, it's a credit card, and it's at high risk. It's at high risk because that interest rate is high, as we all know, on credit cards. So we want to go ahead and take care of that now so nothing bad happens. Click on Take Action. We upload the assigned authorization form we need to, and boom. It's closure. We'll take care of the rest.
Thanks, Adam. So how many people can we help here? So last year alone, 2.8 million people passed away in North America. And that number continues to grow for the next 30 years. In fact, by 2030, the youngest baby boomer will be 65 years old. Funeral costs, on average, upwards of $15,000. And lawyers can cost upwards of $10,000. So how much do we cost? Well, we surveyed over 60 people. We talked to 60 people this weekend. And all of them saw value in the service we were trying to provide. Yeah. So, I can't even remember. Anyway, so we plan to charge $10 to $40 per account closed based on the complexity of the account. This is to help reduce the kind of emotional and financial cost. So, what's our kind of like go-to market? So we want to, people trust people, and people, there are already existing channels where people already work with people in the funeral industry. People like hospices, end-of-life care, lawyers. These are people that these people already trust. And what we want to do is be convenient. We want to be a no-brainer for these, these people that refer us. They want to take action on.
We price ourselves low enough so that these caregivers feel comfortable that we're not a service provider. We're not just another contractor trying to profit off of this horrible event in their life. We're actually trying to do a really good service. We actually talked to a law firm, and we talked to a funeral service, and many other people. Over 40 different of these caretakers, you could say, and people related to the industry.
And that is your 5 minutes.
Thank you, guys. We'll open up the subject here.
This is a huge pain point, so I agree with it. I don't know if I agree with your $10 to $40 per account if you have, on average, 40 accounts. I think I'd start getting pretty pissed off at you for charging me that. But I think it's a huge deal, and making it easier for people is needed. The one thing I'd say that you could also put in this is, in the United States, there are billions of dollars of assets that are just unclaimed because people just don't know that those bank accounts are there.
That's part of the process that we're.
Actually, that's the part I blanked out. So we talked to a bunch of people. Like 70% of the people we talked to said they'd be willing to pay hundreds of dollars for the service, and people with extensive affairs, like businesses or accounts open in other states, were willing to pay thousands of dollars for it. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I'd be
Right,
careful on
and-
the pricing, just because I think there's you know, it is expensive and not everybody has a lot of money, and it should be available to everybody.
Exactly, and then the core value for us is to be open and compassionate. So, you know, the healthcare industry is very predatory.
I didn't see any sort of competitor analysis.
So we talked about how people deal with it today. It's very manual. So like,
Is there anything that remotely close to what you guys do?
Assistants do this for, you know, very wealthy individuals. Attorneys will do that, but of course, you know what they charge per hour. There's no automated way to do this.
Okay, no.
What's like the secret sauce to like finding all the accounts and stuff like that? Like how are you all better suited than like me as a person who's lost a loved one for finding all these accounts?
that's a great question. So when you enter all of the data into our form, you know, we take all that data, death certificate, we get power of attorney, we get their social security number, SIN number, and then from there we're able to kind of derive their credit score, and from there we can derive liabilities, assets, and then, you know, in the future you'll be able to kind of manually, like, oh, I didn't see that account, so you can manually input in there. You'll generate a report for you like you saw, and you can manually click and see which ones you want to close.
And if you don't mind me contributing, you know, I lost my mom about 14 years ago, and just this past March was the final account I closed. Why? Because it is so difficult to find all of them. Because I didn't know anything about how to go about finding them. And, you know, a true, like, professional in the market would be able to do that.
When you get started, how are you going to get people to trust you? Because you're asking to get a lot of their personal information. So why would they trust you? When, you know, I can see how once you have a brand built up,
We
would
would
trust you. But the very first,
This is a problem that a lot of people experience, and a lot of the state law firms experience, you know, understand that with their clients. So what we want to do is actually, you know, partner and be a strategic partner with a law firm, if not an affiliate of a law firm.
Awesome job, guys. Thank you.
So we are Quantex. We are putting numbers into context. Now, when you look at an article like this, Keystone XL Pipeline, 27.4 million tons of CO2. What does that mean? How many of you can actually relate to that? Most people can't. Now, this is not just a problem for the general public. For companies like the utilities who have a mandate to reduce energy consumption and get users to do that, they actually spend, for instance, BC Hydro, $150 million each year on marketing budget just to persuade users to reduce energy consumption. But the problem is, as users, how do you actually, like, why don't they reduce energy consumption? They don't even understand the impact of their carbon emissions, right? So what we've developed is a platform that works, that can integrate into our customers like BC Hydro's existing platforms, so they can actually get more context around the information that they already have. So if you click on this button, it'll take you to our website. So we'll show you a live demo. So this is our website. This is a fully functioning calculator that we built in. So it picked up the amount of energy used from your utility bill, puts it in here, translates it into CO2 emissions, and as you change the amount of percentage reduction in electricity, you can see what does that relate to in terms of incandescent light bulbs, 44 times, or what about what it takes to make them a laptop, 110 laptops. So information like this is how you actually make this much more relatable. Now, what's interesting is if you scroll down here, the user can also download a browser extension. So now this is actually something that's not just in the platform, but it actually works across the whole internet. So we built a browser plugin so that if you're back at that initial stage where you're reading this Keystone XL article and you have this big number, you can actually translate these numbers and on the fly and be able to see how that relates to different categories. Just for time constraints, we haven't changed it for Keystone, but anyways. Okay, so what's our revenue model? So for users, it's free to use, and we want to push for wide adoption. Initially, we're going to target the utilities like BC Hydro. So what BC Hydro is going to pay for is the analytics around the users, like how do they actually engage with this, and does it actually help influence their energy consumption? And so we have a tiered model based on the number of users that are actually using this product. And so if for instance, 5% of BC Hydro's 1.8 million customers adopt this at the rate, it would be roughly $110,000 a year. And there's lots of utilities around. Now, we've talked to not just utility providers, we've talked to, for instance, a PR manager for a large LNG project, liquefied natural gas in BC. And they spend $110,000 every month on their communications protocol because, you know, subject to public perception and government and stakeholder perception, you know, this influences whether or not their projects get approved. We've also talked to environmental NGOs and media who obviously talk about just how this would really help the public understand these complex scientific facts. And we've talked to a lot of general users who think, of course it's more informative and it's something that they think is interesting. So our value proposition is, for instance, if we're talking to the utilities, it's to increase the effectiveness of their communication efforts to influence the end user behavior. And if we're talking to clean tech companies like a biofuels company, if you're trying to prove how much better your technology is compared to the regular stuff, or the traditional technologies, how do you actually make these numbers relatable? How do you communicate this to the stakeholders? How do you communicate this to the public? And for the general public, it just helps you become better informed about these abstract CO2 numbers. And it's also useful across the whole web because it's a browser extension. Now, how do users even find out about us? Well, initially, we're going to work with news article sources to actually embed some of these visualizations inside their stories. So for instance, the Paris climate talks that are coming up, there's a lot of countries putting in commitments. What do these numbers actually mean? So by pushing some initial adoption like this, and we see that we can show that we have some traction, we can then go to utility companies like BC Hydro and, so the user would find out from their utility bills. And how do we find our customers, so the paying customers? We would actually do direct B2B, so we would approach the utilities directly or clean tech companies directly. Next steps. So like I said, the Paris climate talks, we're going to use that as an issue to really push for initial adoption, and then we're going to develop a pilot project and approach BC Hydro. And we're going to develop this dashboard around user engagement. And also this can be used for numbers, not just for CO2, even energy or water. All of these numbers are things that we have a tough time relating to, and we can use similar technology to build on that. And this has, there's other potential customer engagement segments that we can approach as well. And thanks for listening. Any questions?
Thank you, Judges.
Love the idea. I think it's great to bring more education to the public around environmental impact. What I don't love how you go about it is the right way.
No, fair enough. And honestly, for this weekend, we just tried to figure out what we could hack together that's actually working. But there's a lot of ideas that we have on how to reduce the friction and like have less user input. But yes, that's a valid point for sure. Thanks.
Yeah, my question was along the same lines as really that customer acquisition. Like, I'm at home, I'm paying this, I want to use it, but how do I know about you? How do I go on? How do I consistently use you so it's, month after month after month, I'm like trying to get better at it, and I'm not sure.
Are you saying as a user? Or
as a user, as a user.
So the user doesn't pay?
No, it's not that I'm paying. It's just my time to remember to go and use it, to actually be a part of it. Like you spend a lot of time, kind of, and I think it's pretty cool that you can see how it works. But to me, I just think like I care about this, but yet I feel like I'm not going to be going on it, right? So like, how do you solve that problem of really making it easy for me to go on, and how do you get that user? I'd love to really understand, how you get somebody engaged with it.
Yeah, I totally get it.
No, I agree. Like I'm sitting trying to think, would I use this? I use it once maybe. Like, are you better than the dating app? If we're trying to find someone to sell to your global competition, is this like it's a miss to me. Overall kind of pitch. I think you're saying about the bills, the utility bills. Make it an exciting story. Maybe more than just seeing how many papers you saved and whatever.
To be honest, I think we've got a long ways to go in terms of like the design side, and also how to make this compelling and even have an emotional connection. And that's like I'll admit I don't think we've actually solved that. It's right now it's still like data visualizations, but I think there's some potential to actually being able to relate it to things that people can connect with. But yes, I believe there is a missing piece in terms of.
Seems like you guys are pretty good at building tools though. Like the Chrome extension you showed was pretty good. I just think, kind of like what Diazal said, if you tilt the application to focus on something different, you might have more luck. So for example, in manufacturing facilities, they do energy audits like this, and they're all built in Excel spreadsheets and crazy stuff like this. You could take that exact same tech that you've done, but applied it to a much more lucrative space, and probably make a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, I agree. Business model, I think, has a lot of problems. Tech looks cool. Enterprise sales cycle, 9 months.
Yeah.
How many utilities are there in North America? So just like doing that at the beginning. Pitch competitions, focus on the business opportunity first, and then prototyping second, I think.
Yep.
Anyways, it's cool. It looks like cool.
All right, we're Rideway, the online community-based platform for extreme sport enthusiasts to find local experts to book private lessons and guided tours. What's the problem? Well, we know firsthand that learning a new sport can be very expensive. You might not know where to start or where to go, and many times when you're traveling, the gear just simply isn't accessible. The solution is a platform to connect these adventure travelers, these extreme sport enthusiasts, to find an expert who's local in their community and that wants to make a little bit of extra money to take people out to learn their passion. Now, you might ask, what is our market size for this?
So who's going to use this platform? We're going after enthusiasts. So an example would be Alex. Alex is 25 years old, young professional. He loves the outdoors, he loves nature, and he just wants to learn something new, get some adrenaline, but he's not that confident to start on his own. On the other side, you have experts. You have Chuck, he lives in Tofino. He works in a local coffee shop, has a lot of free time, and would love to take someone out for a little extra revenue. So we've been talking to a few of these people during the weekend. We're seeing a lot of enthusiasm from both sides of the market. So now I'm going to talk about the market a little bit and about the school market, the lessons market. So just in Whistler alone, every year there's 37,000 ski lessons that are booked just in winter. And in the LA and San Diego area, we're looking at 270,000 lessons that are booked every year. And this is the first market we're going after, but it's just a fraction of the overall market we could get. But we decided to take a bottom-up approach and look at it from a pros perspective. How many pros can we get on the platform the first year? To stay realistic, we're looking at 50 snowboarding instructors from Whistler, 50 mountain bikers in summer, and maybe 100 surfers in Southern California. So that's 200 pros that we're getting. If each commits to 8 hours a week of part-time, with that supply, we can match it with a demand of, well, I guess a demand of 1,600 people would match that supply. And that's $300,000 of revenue for us. How do we make money? 10% on the transaction on that lesson between the pro and the student. And this is based on a 4-hour per month. So these users, these active users are using our service for 4 hours lessons per month. So this is a 5-year projection. So starting small and just doubling the number of pros on the platform, matching that supply with the demand of people ready to book lessons. This is what it would look like in 5 years. But the problem is not the pros. The problem is to get the students to book those lessons. And so this is how we're going to talk about the first few users that are going to use our market to get the critical mass.
Great, so as you mentioned before, we really are trying to build a community here. So our strategy is to build this community fast. We want to gain immediate signups through paid pay-per-click campaigns. And we also want to promote user-generated content, similar to the way GoPro used that as a growth strategy. We really want to build this community where users can go and share their posts, build organic traffic. And we also want to partner with extreme sport influencers, such as pros and Olympians. Great, so now I'm going to take you through a little story. So we went ahead and looked for some of these influencers, some of these pros. We had the pleasure of meeting Alexandra Duckworth, snowboard Olympian, local resident here. She thought, man, what an awesome idea. She'd love to get involved, and she thinks that some of her pro friends would as well. We also had the pleasure of talking to Wade Foster, CEO of Zapier, who you all know, and he thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'd like to have someone take me around to see the good slopes. So when Rideway is going, we'd love to see matchups like Wade and Alex hitting the slopes together in some of the biggest recreation destinations there are. How our platform works, we're going to have location-based map on the side where the tourism recreations, you can find some of the local experts or champions where they have their own profile, which is peer-reviewed. Thank you.
Let's go to questions.
So you also have the marketplace challenge where you got to get enough instructors and then you got to get enough people who want instructing. So how are you going to solve the chicken and egg problem?
Well, what we're going to do first is go after the instructors. We're going to leverage our networks. We're both avid extreme sport enthusiasts, surfers and snowboarders, and then go after the market itself with the direct campaign. Also, building a bottom-up approach, we thought we'd go with a conservative number to start off with. How many pros can we actually reach in these regions? And then go with a conservative, active user base to ensure a positive revenue first year.
I didn't see much on competition. I gotta imagine there's some. How deep you is looking at that?
So for competition, there's nothing that does exactly what we're doing. There are the surf schools that are out there that serve it on an individual basis, but there's no platform for connecting people to book lessons for extreme sports with professionals.
I like the the whole community angle and the user generated content, all that. I think actually for you to start it would be good to and smart to position this as almost like a social project. What happens to Olympians once they go out of sport? The young people, they still want to be in a business, and I think if you start that could be a cool thing. Like I'd be interested to follow. I'd be interested to actually, as I travel, I'd use that.
That's a great question. Actually,
It's a suggestion. It's not a question.
Great. Well, as you mentioned, life for pros after sport is a growing concern. Lots of these pros are still looking to earn some income, and they want to pursue their passions and turn that into a profession long term. So the National Board of Olympians are actually setting up programs for these pros to get into education. We'd love to help that transition and allow them a way to earn some income.
Right.
I really liked your screenshots. I think you could have even put that up sooner because that really just tied it all together exactly what you guys were trying to get to. I don't know this space very well, but are there any issues with liability since you're going after the extreme sports?
Well, I guess the approach here at the beginning is just to have a disclaimer that we're not responsible for accidents that happen, because that can happen with or without us. But we do want to make sure that our platform is secure in terms of the quality of instructors that we're putting out there. So this is why we're going with a really small number at the beginning. 200 instructors is not a lot. We could manually vet them in a team of 3 or 4 people. With a community manager, they could make sure that these people are really good and really safe.
Is about virtual reality and gaming. We want to build a controller to play popular games in virtual reality using affordable viewer. Right now on the market there are a few types of viewers. Expensive viewers like Oculus and others, and there are cheap viewers like Google Cardboard. So Google Cardboard costs $5. The problem with cheap viewers is that there is no good controller to control to shoot or kick in games. So there are no good games for it because of that. And we want to change that. During the weekend, there are multiple ways to track positioning of the object or controller. During the weekend, we try to use one. We used visual positioning, and we'll try to show you a demo now. Okay, so there is a guy there in cardboard. There is a $5 cardboard and $2 flashlight. Flashlight is a positioning. So he moves a flashlight, and you can see it works sometimes with bugs. But we wanted to build a Fruit Ninja game, but it was not much enough time for us for that. So that is a simple demo in 3D in this controller, which works sometimes. Yeah, but basically it's not very difficult to spend a little few days and reach good points. So next slide, please. slide, please. And next slide, please. Okay, so we asked 30 gamers if they would buy such controller from us, and 95% of them said that yes, they would buy it, and 30% said they would pay for it in crowdfunding funding campaign. Next slide. There are competitors in this area, but they are not targeted same market as ours, or they have different approach to the solution. Most interesting competitor is doing a solution with similar light controllers, and there are also a few other sensors there. And they target virtual reality shopping market, not gaming market. And last month they had Kickstarter campaign with 1,000 units sold. So how we can beat the competitors, and why us? There are two things. First is experience, and second is industry experience. First, I started the company 14 years ago, software consultancy in Ukraine, and it's now more than 100 people. And second, we work with a number of electronics manufacturers like Logitech and Corsair are our good clients, and we do software for their gaming devices like keyboards and mice and headphones and few others. So we have experience in the industry. And next slide, please. A few words about how we would reach our gamers is one way is to read them through YouTube channels, blogs, gaming blogs, and reviewers. So we will send devices and solutions to reviewers, ask for their feedback and review, and this way is a good way to get PR and reach into gamers basically. And that's it. I'm ready for questions. Thank you.
Brian, you want to start off on this, or Wade? No?
Listen, I love the ambition. I think VR is a real thing. And I also think that hardware is a big opportunity. It's just an unfortunate game of the really, really, really big boys right now, right? And billions of dollars being invested. So I'm not quite sure if that's the easiest project to pick as a startup.
We, as a small company, we have advantage because they build, for example, Facebook is with their Oculus, they building controllers for Oculus. They are not interested in other software. Sony is building controllers for their PlayStation, not for anyone else. And building controllers for small, cheap devices like Google Cardboards, nobody is doing that. Just all three competitors that are starting, they started this year, and they don't have anything yet. So we are in a good position right now because there is no competitors that are doing that, and they are big. So, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your strategy of you're going to build these controllers. Are you going to work with certain games? Are you going to work with, like, what's your first strategy kind of out of the gate?
So it will consist of two components. One is hardware controller and software that can track controllers. Next component is software that can stream games to a smartphone. There are already several solutions on the market in this area, so we want to join these controllers with streaming games on smartphone, and this way we will be able to play many games, many popular game titles. So it's not like new games created. It's we just take a game which is popular and we make sure that it works well on our solution, and we target gamers of this game. So that's how we think.
Okay, so I do appreciate the research, the expertise you guys have. So why are you here? Like why? So
idea just haven't here. We did completely different idea. We even thought joining other team. So thanks to peers, thanks to mentors, we just came with this idea using our experience. So and here we are to see people. We like to participate in hackathons. It's a good opportunity, and we like to get feedback for people like you because it's important for us. We don't. So that's okay.
How much does it cost to make the controller, and how much are you going to sell it for? Cost of the controller, projected cost is around $20, hardware manufacturing this.
We asked how much people would pay for it, and the price around $100 is affordable because it's comparable to the price of the game.
You mentioned your background a little bit. Do you have hardware experience as well?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We do mostly software, but as a part of software, we do firmware, we do applications, so software side and algorithms. So for hardware, we have these several software developers. They work a lot with hardware manufacturers in Taiwan and China, so we have experience connecting with them. So yeah.
Cool, thank you.